Hello students, welcome back, and this is the video of class 10 biology, and you know that we are studying chapter 1, that is life processes. And in the earlier videos we studied about the nutrition and respiration. Here in this video the topic is transportation. So in this video particularly we are going to study about the transportation in human. So all living organism needs a few necessary components like air, water and food their survival. On our regular basis, animals ensure these elements by breathing, drinking and eating. The required elements are transported to their body cells and tissues by transportation system. So whatever the things the cells of the body are needed, they need to be transported. Okay, so for the transportation of material from one body part to another, we have the transportation system. In plants, the vascular tissue is responsible for transporting the substances, but here we are studying the transportation in humans. Transportation in humans is done by the system. That system is called circulatory system. The circulatory system in humans mainly consists of blood vessels and heart. So in our circulatory system, we have three main components. Blood, which is the vehicle of the substance, which is the medium to supply the substance from one body part to another. And blood vessels are the thin tube-like structure in which the blood flows, and the heart, which maintain the flow of the blood in our body. So these are the three main components of our circulatory system, which are responsible to transport the things in our body. It is responsible for the supply of oxygen, nutrients, removal of carbon dioxide and other excretory products. So our circulatory system supply the oxygen and nutrients, as well as it remove the carbon dioxide and other excretory product from our body, and it also helps to fight the infection as well. Now first of all we will talk about the heart. So the heart is the muscular organ which is located near the chest, slightly towards the left in our thoracic region, and the heart is the main pumping organ of our body. It pumps the blood so that the circulation of blood will be maintained in our body. The human heart is divided into four chambers which are involved in the transportation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. The upper two chambers are called atria, whereas the lower two chambers are called ventricle. You can see here our human heart has four chambers. It has four chambers. This is the upper two chamber. These are the upper two chambers, and these are the lower two chambers. Upper two chambers are called atria, singular atrium. The right side of atria is called right atrium, and left side is called left atrium. Likewise, the right side of ventricle, the lower chamber is called ventricle, and when the right side of ventricle is called right ventricle, and the left side of ventricle is called left ventricle. And the right part of the heart is totally separated with the left part of the heart with a septum, that is called septum. The septum is a muscular sheet that divide the right portion of the heart from the left completely. There is no any connection between the right and left chamber, but upper and lower chamber are connected with the valve. This right upper chamber and right lower chamber also connected with the valve, and left upper chamber and left lower chamber also they are connected with the valve. That now we will talk about the blood vessels. Blood vessels are the tube-like structure in which the blood flows. It carries the blood throughout the body, and there are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and blood capillaries. Arteries are the vessels which carry oxygenated blood, and veins are the vessels which carry deoxygenated blood. And at places these artery and veins get branched and make thin blood vessels. That very thin blood vessels are called blood capillaries. So by the branching of the artery and veins, very thin blood vessels are formed that are called blood capillaries, and the exchange of substances take place in the capillaries because the wall of the capillaries are very thin and the substances can cross from the capillaries to the cells. Now if you talk about the artery, so the artery are thick walled blood vessels. They have the thick wall blood vessels, and they carry the oxygenated blood from the heart to the different organs. There is an exception in the artery, that is pulmonary artery, which carry deoxygenated blood. All type of arteries carries oxygenated blood, but there is an exception, that is pulmonary artery, which carry deoxygenated blood from the heart to lungs, where oxygenation of blood takes place. Now we'll talk about the vein. Vein are the thin walled blood vessels. Their wall is thin as compared to the artery, and it carries deoxygenated blood from different organs to the heart. Okay, it brings the deoxygenated blood from the body part towards the heart. There is an exception in the vein also, that is the pulmonary vein. This vein is the exception because this carry oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. All the veins carry the deoxygenated blood from body to the heart, but there is an exception, that is called pulmonary vein. It carries the oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. And there is a characteristic feature of vein that it has valves. And that prevent backflow of the blood. Okay, the veins have valve. Arteries do not have valve because the flow of the blood in the artery is maintained by the pressure, so it in the blood do not backflow. There is no chance of backflow of the blood in the artery. But in case of vein, because there is no pressure, in the flow of the blood in the vein, so there are the valves. Okay, so there are the walls. Okay, wall like structure there. That wall maintain the direction of the flow of the blood in one direction, and it prevents the blood to backflow. So this is the characteristic feature of vein. It has valve to prevent the backflow of the blood. Now we will talk about the capillaries. Capillaries are the very thin blood vessels, and they are very thin that they have single celled walls, and they are formed by the branching of arteries and veins. And capillaries are the place where exchange of substances take place. Because their walls are very thin, so the substance can cross these walls and get into the cell, and from the cells the substances can go into the blood in the blood capillaries. Now we will talk about the blood. So blood is a medium which carry the substance from one part of the body to another part, and blood is actually a tissue, that is connective tissue, and it acts as a carrier of various substances in the body. If we will talk about the composition of blood, so it is made up of two things, plasma and blood cells. Blood plasma is a pale colored liquid which is mostly composed of water. Blood plasma forms the matrix of the blood, and it is found in the liquid form. And blood cells, there are three types of blood cells found in the blood, that is red blood cells, RBCs, white blood cells, WBCs, and platelets. Red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes. And white blood cells are called as leukocytes, lymphocytes, and the platelets are called thrombocytes. Okay, so RBC are also known as erythrocytes. White blood cells are also known as lymphocytes, and platelets are also called as thrombocytes. Red blood cells, these are the red color because of the presence of hemoglobin, which is a pigment. And hemoglobin readily combined with the oxygen and carbon dioxide. The transport of oxygen happens through hemoglobin. Some part of the carbon dioxide is also transported through the hemoglobin. So red blood cells are the small circular cells which are biconcave in shape, and they have a pigment, red pigment, that is called hemoglobin, and hemoglobin are the carrier of oxygen and carbon dioxide. White blood cells, these are the white color cells, and they play a very important role in the immunity because the cells of white blood cells are phagocytic in nature. Phagocytic in nature means they engulf the foreign particles and pathogens, and hence they uh, save us, protect us from the infection and diseases. Platelets are the cells which are responsible for blood coagulation. Coagulation is also known as clotting. Blood clotting. Platelets are responsible for blood clotting or blood coagulation. Blood coagulation is a defense mechanism which prevents excess loss of blood in case of injury. So you know that the blood flows in our blood vessels. So somehow when the blood vessels get ruptured or open, then the bleeding starts. So to stop the bleeding, the blood cells, which are platelets, they come at the place of uh, cut and injury, and they coagulate with each other and block the way, and hence they stop the bleeding. Here you can see the types of blood cells. These are the red blood cells known as erythrocytes. They look red because of the presence of hemoglobin, and they help in the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. White blood cells are called leukocytes, and leukocytes are of 5 types: neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, lymphocyte, and monocyte, and they fight against the infections. Third kind of cells are platelets, that are also called thrombocytes, and they help in the blood clotting to prevent the bleeding from our body. These are the natural, blood clotting is a natural process to prevent the bleeding from our body. Now we will talk about the double circulation. In the human heart, blood passes through the heart twice in one cardiac cycle. This type of circulation is called double circulation. One complete heartbeat in which all the chambers of the heart contract and relax once is called cardiac cycle. The heart beats about 72 times per minute in a normal adult. In one cardiac cycle, the heart pumps out 70 ml blood, and thus about 4,900 ml blood in a minute. Double circulation ensures complete segregation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, which is necessary for optimum energy production in warm-blooded animals. So our heart shows the double circulation. The first is called systemic circulation. The first part of the circulation is called systemic circulation, and second is called pulmonary circulation. In the systemic circulation, what happens? All the deoxygenated blood goes into the right auricle, and then goes into the right ventricle. Then from here it goes into the lungs, and from the lungs oxygenation takes place, and it comes into the left auricle. That circulation is called as systemic circulation. And in the pulmonary circulation, what happens? The in the systemic circulation, the blood moves from the left ventricle, and it goes into the body parts where it takes the gives the oxygen and take up the carbon dioxide, and then it goes into the right auricle of the heart. This is called systemic circuit, systemic circulation. After that, this deoxygenated blood goes into the right ventricle, and it goes into the lungs from there, and in the lungs oxygenation takes place, and again it goes into the heart, into the left auricle. So from heart to the lungs and lungs to the heart, this is the cycle which is called as pulmonary cycle, pulmonary circuit. From the heart to the body part, then again into the heart, that circuit is called as systemic circuit. So in one cardiac cycle, the blood passes twice in our heart, and that's why it is called double circulation. Now we will talk about the blood pressure. The pressure exerted by the blood when it flows through the blood vessel, it is called blood pressure. The pressure exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessel, that is called blood pressure. There are two different variants of blood pressure, the systolic and diastolic. The pressure exerted on the wall of the arteries when the heart is filling with blood is called diastolic pressure. It constitutes the minimum pressure. Diastole means relaxation, relax. When the heart relax, then uh, the blood applies minimum pressure on the arteries, on the wall of the arteries, and the normal range of diastolic blood pressure is 60 to 80 millimeter Hg. And the pressure exerted on the wall of the arteries when the heart is pumping the blood is called systolic. When the heart contracts, then it pumps the blood into artery with the pressure, and at that time there is maximum pressure applied on the arteries by the blood, and that is uh, called as systolic blood pressure, and their range is from 90 to 120 millimeter Hg. The pressure exerted on the wall of the arteries when the heart is pumping the blood is called systolic pressure. When the heart contracts and pump the blood into the arteries, then that pressure is maximum, and due to the contraction, that pressure is called systolic pressure, and the contraction of the heart is called as systole. That is called systole, and it constitutes the maximum pressure applied on the arteries. And when our heart get relaxed, then it is called diastole, and at that time the pressure is minimum. There is an instrument called sphygmomanometer. This sphygmomanometer is used to measure the blood pressure. Now we will see the valve which is present in the chambers, so between the chambers of heart. So in the valve which is present between the right or atrium and the right ventricle, that valve is called as tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve, and through this opening, through this valve, the blood flows from right atrium to the right ventricle, and valve is there to prevent the backflow of the blood, and from there the blood goes into the pulmonary artery, and these pulmonary artery carry the blood towards the lungs. And here also you can see there is a valve that is called pulmonary valve, that also prevent the backflow of the blood, and it leads to the blood to the lungs, from where the oxygenation takes place, and from there the blood comes again into the left atrium, and here there is a valve between left atrium and left ventricle, that is bicuspid valve, that is called bicuspid valve, and that valve open the blood from left atrium to the left ventricle, and from here the blood goes into the biggest artery of our body, that is called aorta, and this aorta leads the blood to whole body part, and again and after that the blood From arteries the blood goes into the capillaries, and from the capillaries the blood goes into the vein, and the vein again bring the blood from body parts into the right auricle, and again the blood cycle starts, the heart cycle starts. Here you can see the circulation of blood through the heart. So from the aorta the blood goes into the artery, then it goes into the capillaries, from there it goes into the vein, then again it goes into the right part of the heart, from right part of the heart it goes into the lungs, it goes into the lungs, and from the lungs the oxygenated blood again come into the left part of the heart, from left part of the heart it again goes through the body part with the help of artery. The largest vein present in our body is called vena cava, and the largest artery present in our body is called aorta. So this is all for this video. In the next video we will talk about the transport in plants. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.